But actually, do you know, it's funny you reference that, because you do. So kids, when they grow up, their kind of father or their mother tends to be their hero.
Yeah.
And then they realise that they're human.
Yeah, it's awful.
And then you're really disappointed because your dad's no longer your superhero. You talk about your dad being the biggest guy you know, and then you go see a rugby player.
Yeah. The weird thing was, well, apparently just have a live therapy session.
Right, okay.
is there was a point when I'd grown up a bit when I realised that my mum was fucking awesome and she did loads of really cool stuff. And before, like, because single parent and all of that sort of stuff, sort of pushed against everything a lot. But I had the opposite thing of spending most of my childhood thinking this person's a pain in the ass, to all of a sudden going, she's pretty ace actually. Like, she's done some really cool stuff and she keeps doing really cool stuff.
Nice.
And then had to deal with this mess all the time. You think, again, it goes back to the same thing with athletes and this, like, parents are humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, your parents aren't defined by that. No. Their role is, you know, until you're 16 or 18 or whatever it is, make sure you stay alive and know the right stuff to keep staying alive. Yeah. But outside of that, they're human people. Exactly. Yeah. Parent is just one part of who that individual is. Yeah. It's really, I could literally go on for hours about this, because I do find this side of stuff fascinating and what actually goes on and because there's like the common trait, a lot of good athletes are a bit selfish and a bit narcissistic, and like with climbing, there's a whole thing when, you know, climbers are a bit tapped because it's a bit of a weird thing to want to do, where you go, you know, you put yourself in a situation where you cannot make a mistake. Yeah. And it's a weird thing to do. And trying to understand that is a wild journey. It's really cool. We'll sort of wrap it up. Okay. In a sort of pointless question. Okay. Who's your favourite psychologist? Who's number one? Oh my word, you didn't prepare me for this. No, I thought, I've just been looking at all the books. Looking at all my books. There's a lot of Freud, but... There is a lot of Freud. Is that just because he did a lot? That's because I trained as a psychodynamic psychotherapist and I had to buy them on the reading list. So you might as well put them out. So I might as well. You know, I've read these, you know. Can't remember them, but I've read them. Something about parents. Yes. Something about sex. You know. I think the real issue is, you want to sleep with your mother. Yeah. Well. Or do you? Yeah. Should you? Yeah. You don't. Here's another book. You see, this is the stuff, right? So you've just touched on something there, the Oedipus complex, right? Yeah. So I think this is why people get freaked out with Freud. Yeah. So the Oedipus stuff is real, right? That's a statement, isn't it? Figured out the thumbnail. That is a real statement, okay? But it's not in the sense of the literal way in which it's interpreted. Yeah. Okay? The stuff about liking your mother, okay? If we talk about that now, it's that there are certain traits within the mother or unconscious traits within the parent that become internalized and repeated in future partners. And it might make people really uncomfortable to think about that stuff. Yeah, almost hopefully. Like a little bit. Yes, might make us feel really uncomfortable to talk about that stuff. So it's not that you want to be with your mother, but it's ultimately that traits that you were around in a developmental stage are comfortable to you.
Exactly.
And you want to find those.
Comfortable, familiar, that's your template, so you go out into the world searching for it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so don't be scared of Freud.
Yeah.
Freud's wonderful.
Sense. Yeah, it's super interesting, but I think the issue is the go-to. If you mention Freud, people go, oh, it's that. Yeah. It's that guy.
Yeah. And I think this is why a lot of people, when you mention psychoanalysis, they're like, whoa, not for me. But it's so helpful and useful to all of us. So the stuff that I've just spoken about, good enough parenting, you found that interesting, right? Or you were kind enough to pretend you were interested.
Well,
not really my most favourite part. But that comes from a theory in psychoanalysis that if I told you the theory now, I think you'd be like, oh my God, Amy, what are you talking about? But it comes from Kleinian theory about good breast, bad breast. But if I use those words, you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And that's, that's the thing with psychoanalysis, that I think people get quite overwhelmed with the language that's used in it.
It does, I suppose that, I don't want to say era of psychoanalysis, but that genre maybe, the language is pretty blunt. Yeah. It's down the line.
It's provocative as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
trying to sell books.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was, sold more books if spoke about that stuff. Yeah. But if you think about all of these theories on a symbolic level, really useful, and clinically I see it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been, because when was Freud prevalent? Quite a while, like
early 1900s, was it?
Yes.
I don't know. Let's have a look. Do you want me to get a book?
I'll professionally Google it again.
Yeah. Phone time again.
Sigmund Freud. So he died in 1939 and he was born in 1856. Wonderful beard. Good work on that. Mm-hmm. How, and again, it feels really reductionary, but it's not meant to be, but how is that still relevant? Like, so much later. Like, so the world is radically different to the world he was analysing.
Yeah, but people aren't.
Are they not, though?
I don't think so.
That's a bit depressing. You'd think we'd move on a bit.
Yeah.